I wanted you to weigh in on the Hispanics in hip hop. You know what I mean? Controversy, and I liked your perspective when I heard you mention that you had heard us talk about it on the show.
I wanted to answer the fucking question.
Okay.
I was talking to the screen when y'all was talking and shit.
All right. So yes, I thought it was important. So I mean, there's different facets of this. I mean, how we approach it. There's no one answer or there's no one theme, you know, that you can say. But basically, first, just give me your take on the whole, you know, thing, how it escalated from one thing to the next, and just kind of break it down. What is it really? What's the answer to this thing? Okay.
I think that everything can be traced back. Everything is still right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I did a post recently, and the post you're talking about, I was talking about, I said hip hop, but I probably misspoke because I was talking about the elements of DJing and MCing, and people got mad at me because I said that those are really the main two elements. I mean, they're all elements, but the DJ and the MC, you know, now that the MC has come to the forefront, it's like we literally are speaking, we're the voice of the culture. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and if you just look at where all the money's coming from, it's MCs and then DJs. So that's not to disrespect breakdance, because it's a culture. I love the culture, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't start loving hip hop when we started making money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love the culture. So, you know, my take on the MC and DJing, which was the most important, you know, part to me. The shit can be, I believe the shit can be traced back to 6 people. You know what I'm saying? So now we say, you know, who created hip hop? There's millions of people around the world who are claiming creation. 99.9% of black people weren't involved with hip hop. It was the black people that were in New York.
Right.
99.9% of Puerto Ricans weren't involved with hip hop. It was the Puerto Ricans that was in New York, and not all of them.
Right.
A very small portion of them. So I come to terms a long time ago that Puerto Ricans didn't invent MCing, and Puerto Ricans didn't invent hip hop DJing. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I got it as, I recently was speaking to LA, and he put me up on more you know, Hollywood history, because I used to kind of minimize his influence. Like he's a disco guy, but so in my mind now, he's kind of the one who brought the rap, right? And you know, it was disco or whatever. We couldn't get into the discos. We started doing shit outside. But so I would say Hollywood, and then I would say Kool Herc, because there was a lot of DJs. Everybody was DJing, but he decided to do something different. People started playing certain soul records, certain records that had breaks, but then he decided to, you know, obviously, as we all know, play only the break beats, which was the merry-go-round. So he didn't have a mixer, and he just played the break beats, but I guess the shit came in off beat or whatever.
Yeah, definitely it was. You had to wait till the song came all the way and then start all over again, right?
But he changed it from DJing to that, then Flash changed it from that to the quick mix theory, and that was the first time that there was a bed of music extended where a person like Melly Mel could be like, that's where I come in.
Right.
And he starts writing, and he changed it from, you know, like a master of ceremonies, or, you know, throw your hands up and all that, you know, that's all good, but Mel changed it to da-da-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da-da, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious, this is me, this is my swag,
rhymes,
you know what I'm saying?
Verses, bars.
So he did that, so, and from what I understand, Creole had played a part. Would you say that Creole played a part with that? I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. They were brothers.
Like they kind of,
Creole,
you know,
and they kind of fed off of each other. You know what I mean?
So,
and they were 2 of the first MCs.
Right. So those are to me the 6 people: Bambaataa, Hollywood, Herc, Flash, Mel, and Creole. Now going back to Bambaataa real quick. This is just, you know, this is how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Bambaataa's importance was crazy because he was bringing in from the gangs and the truce that happened and turning that into hip hop. The Black Spades turned into Zulu Nation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people always be like, oh, they think that the black spades means we're black and we're spades. No, black spades had Puerto Ricans too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
all
definitely.
those gangs, those things weren't broken down by black or Puerto Rican. It was broken down by area. And in that area, it was blacks and Puerto Rican, and they were always together. You know what I mean? So, the narrative like that Puerto Ricans kind of came over after from their culture. I feel like our generation of Puerto Ricans was introduced to the culture along with everybody else at the same time. Like there was never a time where our generation was dancing fucking salsa music, and then we said, you know what, I'm gonna go fuck with the hip hop.
Hold on.
Right.
Because you made a good point there. Because generationally, that's where we all get our shit from. So everybody that's in that same age range, everybody that go to the same school, everybody that listen to the same radio station gets the same culture. Mm-hmm. Okay, now how you manifest that, you know what I mean, and how that plays, into your life as it is, depends on what's going on in your life already. Now, most of us are already on that path. We grew up with music in our house, R&B, soul music, hip hop. A lot of the break beats that we gravitated to came from songs that our parents used to play in our homes. Some of the earliest experiences from a lot of Spanish, Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rican, whatever, Dominican, the people involved in hip hop, the generation prior to them wasn't involved in this kind of music. Wasn't involved in black culture the same way. There were some, but not
black
as
people.
much as this generation, okay? Like you said, the generation prior were, racist against black people.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Sometimes justifiably so, and sometimes that's just the way they were brought up. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? I remember my first partner in this thing, Disco Wiz. He was Puerto Rican, you know what I mean? And half Cuban, half Puerto Rican. And he got a lot of flack from being with me, from hanging out with me or seeing him. I didn't get no flack from hanging out with him. When people seeing me with him or the Puerto Rican dude, with the Kango and just fly, they just see two fly niggas, the black and the Puerto Rican. When Puerto Rican people say us, yo, what you doing with that fucking Moreno? What you doing with that Cocolo? Why you listen to that black shit? That was the attitude. And that can't be denied, okay? So, if anything, the hip-hop generation kind of closed that gap.
Not kind of.
Definitively closed that gap as far as, they do that and we do this. No, we all do this.